And welcome back to another video. Today, excuse me, I will be playing this deck. It's Soul Sisters in Timeless. I watched a video by Saffron Olive. He played it, and it looked a lot of fun. Up my alley. Haven't really played Timeless very much. And also they were playing best of 3. I'll be playing, best of 1. I know the meme was the revenge, where you basically play the spell for 6 mana and then Sorin -1. Basically they lose automatically. It's cool concept, but I thought, okay, what's more consistent? And I actually swapped those 4 out for Helping Hand, which is kind of does the first part of that spell, which brings back a creature from the graveyard to the battlefield. And instead of black-white hybrids, 2 black-white hybrid, it's just 1 white. And it enters tapped, which is not the greatest, but it doesn't really matter because you're just bringing it back. And it's I don't know. I think it's cool because it brings back anything obviously other than Solitude and the One Ring. One complaint that Saffron Olive had was that having 4 the One Ring and not having 4 mana kind of like sucks, because there was a match where he was stuck at 3 mana and he had 2 One Rings. So I kind of got rid of 2 of them just so we can get some Esper Sentinels. Just to see if it helps. Like, I get it, the One Ring is super powerful, but at the same time, when you have a low mana curve, it doesn't make any sense to try to get super high. Solitude, you evoke it, right? So there's no real concern of trying to get 5 mana. And the One Ring, again, if you're stuck at 3 mana or something. And then also, Esper Sentinel's a really good card. I mean, it's card draw. And if you need that one creature to come in and gain you life off of one of your Soul Sisters, there you go. It works either way. At some point, I'll be putting the card here in the screen. We'll be getting a card from the new set, Bloomborough. It isn't out yet, but it seems legit. It seems really good, especially with things like silent clearing, fetch lands, shock lands. It'll be able to get that buff and also get the +1 counters from all the life gain. And then if it does die, it transfers those 1/1 counters over to something else, which is great. I'll definitely be taking out the Esper Sentinels for that card, and maybe cutting back on an Ajani or a Sorin to get maybe 3 or 4. Really hard to get rid of all the One Rings, because at the end of the day, it is a very powerful card. But I think it's good to cut back to see if we can just kind of cut that curve down a little bit. But yeah, I've played a few matches. It felt great, but I do think it's kind of there's some really good decks out there in Timeless. So yeah, so I'll be running this through for a couple matches, and yeah, thanks. All right, so here's match 1. This is my first time doing commentary over matches that have already been played. So see how that goes. I already took some retakes because it is interesting, because I'm not in the middle of the match, so I don't have to worry too much about the match. But how much do I talk about the match in the sense of 5 turns ahead or whatever whatnot. So yeah, opening hand wasn't bad. I like the silent clearings. I don't mind them since this is a life gain deck. Losing some life for mana is not that bad of a thing. But good start so far for me. Getting the turn 1 sister, of course it's not the sister, but it's one of the sisters is not bad. Ajani, very powerful. Surveil lands, wow. I remember people when Surveillance first came out, they're like, well, it's gonna be good, but it's better than good. Yeah, look at that, just getting rid of that land that I don't need. Let's just throw it in the graveyard. And with that card Helping Hand that I put in here over revenge. Surveilling a creature like a Sorin or an Ajani and then playing Helping Hand to bring it back is really good. It's a good interaction that I was like, oh man, that's a good thought that I was thinking about. So there's the Tarmogoyf, and I was wondering why my opponent wasn't just pulling a bunch of lands with their land tax. Like, yeah, I don't really understand what my opponent was playing. Again, I don't play a lot of Timeless, but it's just one of those where I'm like, okay, land tax, Johnny's welcome, Tarmogoyf. Got it. It was an interesting just thought process, like trying to figure out what my opponent is playing. But I believe I flip a Johnny, or not Johnny. Sorry, I flip Sorin. No, I don't. That's right. Yeah. I think I would have if I played Esper Sentinel pre-combat, but I didn't. Again, with this, just grabbing no lands. So it's just confused. I don't know if they only run like a few basic lands, and I don't know. And then Night Pack Ambusher, like as a sorcery. It was just an interesting deck that I was playing against, and wasn't sure what their deck did. And so I just kind of played out the deck as best as possible on my end. I think this was a pretty good game for me, just in the sense of not too many misplays. But I wasn't really put in a scenario where I needed not, misplay. Where the matchups down the road in the video, definitely there were some matchups that I was like, should probably not mess up here. There's one of the original Soul Sisters. Yeah, I don't know why I was double. Oh, I think I was figuring out, yeah. A lot of, like, I do notice later on, and my friend has told me before, where it's like, you overthink things, but I think it's just, that's always just been my process as a human being. I kind of take my time when it comes to thinking about stuff or doing things. Like, I have to really process and be like, am I doing this correctly? So, but when it comes to this, yeah, it's just one of those where I'm like, okay, so far so good. I'm in a good spot. I have a Johnny flip. I got an Esper Sentinel. I have 2 creatures that gain me life whenever something ETBs. I got a Sorin that's ready to go. Drawing cards off of Esper Sentinel. Yeah, like Smothering Tithe. This was a matchup that I wasn't too sure what to do about. I did not hesitate to pay that. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm paying it. And I think, yeah, I know, I take it back to Concealed Courtyard, play it tapped, and then I play the Johnny. It's just like, I don't know what my opponent's doing, so I'm just gonna throw. I was like, are they gonna board wide?
Beside me, brother.
Wasn't really seeing much. What I should have done was, yeah, that, and then I think I don't attack. I'm pretty sure I don't attack. I think I do misplay here. I'm not gonna lie. I think I do misplay. I did do the negative, which is good. But I think I misplay with the Johnny. I think I was supposed to -4 a lot sooner, but I think I -4 too late, if I remember correctly. Yeah, this was losing the Soul Warden was tough, but I was like, okay, well, who else could they have, killed? Is the other thing. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know who else you could have gone after. I think at this point I was trying to figure out, like, okay, how do I do this? Yeah, this is the thought process aspect of me playing Magic. Just, like, should I have +2, or I should have -4'd and got rid of 2 creatures of theirs and 2 enchantments of theirs, and then swung, because they would have had less creatures, obviously, right? but I wasn't thinking. And then, you know, a Johnny not flipping, because why would they? Because then I could have negative, and then I could have swung, and then a Johnny could have easily flipped again. I could have had to played my third a Johnny. Like, there's just little things like that with this deck that I was like, man, looking back, I should have done. And they wouldn't have most likely had Smothering Tithe or something, you know, so they would have had less enchantments to deal with, or that I needed to deal with. And this is me contemplating, like, do I want to pay the 2? I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure I declined so I can play the Sorin. Yeah, because right now I'm just like, this is 0. Because Sorin is not a May ability. Sorin, for sure, flips no matter what. So
This isn't even the good silverware.
I was like, 1? What do I do with the 1? I'm just gonna create a food token. Yeah, that's like the one thing with like Sorin's really good when you have gained a lot of life, so you just, you know, negative and kill something. But if you don't gain a bunch of life in a turn, it's kind of tough to take care of.
Every day is a new mutation.
I think this is when I -4 Johnny. I'm pretty sure. I draw and I see that. I'm like, oof. Ocelot Pride, hands down the best card in the entire deck. Not gonna lie, it's just really good. Like, don't get me wrong. Like a Johnny, Sorin, powerful cards. Solitude, powerful. Esper Sentinel, powerful. But Ocelot Pride, unchecked, very, very powerful, very devastating. I think I don't negative the Sorin. Do I? Yeah, I don't. I go into attacks. This is another misplay that I had that I should see. This is where I messed up. I should have negative the Sorin, kill the Planeswalker, and then -4 the Ajani to get rid of 2 creatures and 2 enchantments. Because I was like, oh, they can just like double block my Sorin and kill it. So I don't know if this is an opponent who's just kind of built a deck and put it together and been like, oh, let's see how this works in Timeless, you know? Like, most likely that's what it is. Because at this point, I could have flipped a Johnny. You know, now I have 2 Sorins. I'm like, okay, who am I going to keep? I think I end up keeping the, yeah, 4, right? I would assume so. What am I thinking? Oh my god, Harry. I think I wasn't sure if I negatived or not. Man, it is interesting rewatching your own gameplays. And that's something that actually I've been talking about in the sense of with people where I wish Arena had replay systems. Being able to rewatch your match is so good. Not only rewatching your own match, but seeing like what we were gonna draw next, kind of thing, right? Especially after a match, right? Like, it would be great to see, okay, like, what would I have drawn, you know? Going into game 2, Jin Zur, let's see, this one, I think I remember this. Yeah, this opening hand was like Helping Hand Sorin. I don't think this is gonna go well. Like, I mean, let me mulligan. Yeah, 1 land, 3 Soul Sisters. I was like, you know what? Bunch of 2 drops. I'm gonna keep it. And yeah, it was silly. I was like, I mean, I'm on the draw, right? I'm bound to get. Yeah, I'm bound to get a another land, right? See, maybe I should have kept the other hand, because I would have had Helping Hand, right? Thoughtseize, have Helping Hand, Sorin. I don't know. But spoiler alert, I didn't get a second land right away. Yeah, this is I'm starting to, obviously I'm starting to learn the matchups. This is show and tell. And yeah, double solitude. I was like, oh no. Oh no, this is not going as planned. Hoping for that second land to be able to start dropping things. But nonetheless, yep, another 2-drop. Like, damn. Okay, all right, turn 3. Only 1 mana, swinging for 2. Thanks, opponent. Thanks for cutting your life total down little by little. Yeah, Omniscience is a powerful card. Being able to play anything in your hand is good. This is where I was confused. I was like, do they not have like show and tell? And I was like, okay, for sure. And so I was like, I'm just gonna keep swinging away. Let's play a land. All right, let's do this. Just searching for land, putting it down. I was like, all right, let me start some beats. Here come the beats. Here come the beats. Yeah, I felt kind of, also, you know what? I think I'm gonna get there. I think I'm gonna win. If they just don't have an answer, I'm gonna win. You know, they're like, I'm like, oh, sick. They're, you know, they're killing themselves. It's great. You know, they're down to 6. It's gonna be awesome. Totally gonna win this matchup. How am I not gonna win this matchup? They're at 6 life. I'm at 19. I have creatures on the board. Now I have lethal. You know, come on. It's a crazy thought process when you're like, I'm gonna do stuff, and I'm like, show and tell. Oh no. And I was like, well, I almost played the Voice of the Soul, but I was like, well, what if they play like a big creature, like Emrakul? I was like, oh. Yeah, that's a thing. Yeah, I mean, if I had a turn, I think I would have been okay. But unfortunately, they kind of, yeah, they go through the decks. They go through the deck, and I'm like, okay. So this is my first time playing against Show and Tell in Timeless, and I let it play out because I kind of want to see, okay, what is this deck about, kind of thing. I'm glad I did. I don't know. It's that weird thing. Like, do I just concede knowing like, oh, my opponent's gonna, like, obviously gonna go off? But there's always like that small, like, what is it? Like hope of like, oh, my opponent's total. Like, what if my opponent whiffs? Kind of thing, right? And so I'm always hopeful for that. But you know, for the most part, you know, the writing's on the wall, right? Like, yeah, no, you're dead, Harry. You're dead. Just concede already. Yeah, at this point, I probably should have conceded. But again, I really wanted to see, okay, like what else is in show and tell decks, right? Like, okay, Omniscience, Dig Through Time, you know, the one that searches the top third of your library or something like that. Like, okay, all right, so not bad. They have Atraxas, obviously. You know, this is the one that I was like, oh, get to search from outside your library. Like, okay, Approach of the Second Sun, understood. So it's just another way to win, another win con. I was like, okay, cool. And I figured they would have gotten it with Assemble the Team. I was like, well, they would be able to find, that would be Approach of the Second Sun, right? Like, but I guess it wasn't. I don't know. I was like, oh, I'm confused. But I think they might just were playing spells at this point, just to play spells, and I'm okay with that. Yeah, this is the part where I was like, Veil of Summer. I was like, oh, okay, and then I think they do it twice. I don't remember. Oh, they spell pierce. Yeah, they spell pierce, and I think they spell pierce again. I don't know if they're like, well, while my opponent's just sitting here, just letting things happen. I was like, yeah, you know, I think they were just trying to play spells. And then they press the second sun, and I'm like, okay, cool. Good game. Resolved. I should have solituded. I should have solituded. Game 3, I promise I didn't keep a 1 lane hand. I'm trying to remember if I keep this. I think I do. Again, turn 1 Esper Sentinel, so really good. With Helping Hand, I think this situation right here where they're kind of like, okay, Inquisition, Esper, Helping Hand, and a Johnny, like you would think, oh, I should just discard a Johnny or Esper Sentinel. But then them seeing Helping Hand, they're like, wait a minute, they're just going to get it back. And I'm like, yes, I can. So it's one of those where like, it forces your opponent to get rid of it. Like, okay, so what's the point of, you know? So instead of them getting rid of your Johnny, they get rid of your Helping Hand, which is awesome. It's a great card for that sense, and I really liked it for that. Helped me through. This is like the main interaction that I dealt with that, where they, you know, Inquisition, not Thoughtseize, but you know, they're making me discard, and they're like, oh, that. This is the other. Obviously, they threw the Thoughtseize out, and then Esper Sentinel, draw me cards, of course. They got rid of the 1 ring, and I was like, yeah, it's a powerful card, so I guess so. This one, I wish I should have Marsh Flats and gotten a basic, because having 5 lands already in hand, maybe fetching into a land would have been better, because just to thin out the deck, right? And I might start doing that now. Yes, I started doing it because I'm just like, okay, I should really start deck thinning. It makes more sense. I think this is where things start going not the greatest for my opponent. It's just, again, because at the end of the day, this is a white Winnie deck, right? So I just kind of start going wide with my board here, and I don't think they have much answers. Gliss is very powerful. Oh, they do. Yeah, I forget. They have one. And I think this forces them to not be able to play the second spell in their hand. And so they're kind of stuck just like, okay, do I Fatal Push and let them draw, or do I, you know, Fatal Push and play this other spell, you know? But again, this is powerful, but when I can just make a bunch of cat tokens, doesn't really, not good for them. Yeah, I was like, okay, I'm just going to make a cat. Gain a life, and then Silent Clearing, and I think I crack it right away. So like, I have 2 more lands in hand. I need not lands. Oh yeah, and I was like, oh hey, another a Johnny, fantastic. More cat tokens. Yeah, it's a really good combo. Being able to just have multiple Johnnies. So that's the one thing that wasn't the happiest about when it comes to Sorin. Sorin flips, like it's not a May ability where Johnny is. This is a good pool. I wasn't sure what my opponent was going to do, because obviously the Planeswalker Johnny is one thing, but the creature Johnny is another thing, because, you know. But I think, yeah, they attack with both, and then I trade. Because it's just, well, I chump 1, and then I trade with the Bloodstained? No. Forgot the name of the card. Cascade 4-man. Yeah, I start, like, okay, I need to start fetching for and like, this is getting ridiculous, all these lands. Yeah, Guide of Souls is really good too. It's just the energy counters into giving things +1 counters and flying. It's really good. Oh yeah, there it is. Ocelot Ocelot Pride, I don't know, Ocelot Pride, Ocelot Pride. Yeah, I forgot to attack, and I was like, no, why did I forget to attack? So that's 2 points of damage, and I'm like, all right, well, so this goes. Oh, hey, look, it's a powerful Tarmogoyf. Yeah, I have so much respect for Goyf. It sucks that it's not good in modern anymore. Yep, but bye swamp. Yeah, I had so many lands in hand. I was like, yes, I don't care. discard these stupid lands. Yeah, so I'm down to the point where, yeah, this is like steamrolling time where Ocelot Pride just like comes in and it's like, do you have an answer? Because I'm gonna be making a lot of cat tokens at end of turn. And then again, energy counters. I was like, okay, well, I can attack now. I was like, I'm just gonna. So I do this a lot in my turn because I hate where it asks for my priority. So I just kind of am like, all right, I'm just gonna, fetch during my turn. Especially if I know what I'm gonna do. Like, there's no reason for me to wait until at the end of my opponent's turn, kind of thing. Yeah, this ability, giving them flying and 2-1 counters. Oof. Oh yeah, at this point, I was like, unless my opponent gets rid of Ocelot Pride, because now I have another 3 energy counters. Guide of Souls is going to give something else 2+1 counters and flying. So my opponent is really in a bad spot, and drawing in some more lands wasn't good for them. They think they're just getting Croxa, and I was like, I'm at 31 life. I don't care. I know they're doing what they can. Obviously, they're just like, I'm just gonna go after a Johnny, I guess. It's like I think they were hoping to I don't know what they're trying to go for. But yeah, Chumpsies play the Soul Warden. And then, because at this point, oh no, I kept zeroing. I think I zero. I should have maybe plus, but that's fine. I swing with Ocelot Pride and the Esper Sentinel, and this is kind of, I mean, it's kind of been, writing in the wall kind of stuff, but, I don't know what my opponent has in their deck that could have stopped me at this point. Like, I'm 5 energy counters. No. But yeah, at this point I was like, wow, this deck feels good, but Ocelot Pride feels really strong. This matchup was interesting. I believe it's the energy deck. Yeah, this one I played it before in my when I was testing out the deck first before I started recording, and it seemed good. Oh, this is not the energy deck. This is the cat deck. But yeah, no, this one was fun. I liked it. I was like, oh, it's a cat deck, sick. Like I already knew. I was like, oh, Leonard Vanguard. Why else? Why else would you put that in your deck other than like making a cat deck, right? Yeah, I saw Johnny. I was like, oh, absolutely. This is such a cat deck. And no, yeah, it was cool. Obviously, I'm sure they have Ocelot Pride and all this other stuff. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, no blocks. I'll just take it and take my turn. This was a tough decision for me. I was like, do I add Johnny's or do I Voice of the Dead? Or Blessed? During my turn. But then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna. Yeah, at this point I was like, who do I get rid of? And I was like, I think I might just. It was a tough decision. I was really debating whether it's Voice of the Dead, or Voice of the Blessed, or the Extra Solitude, because I was like, okay, like I have a lot of faith in Voice of the Blessed because it is like the signature spell that I use for Soul Sisters in Arena. But I was also just like, it might just attach to the card. But I was like, you know what? I think I'll just, I just did the other Solitude because I was like, it's fine. I think a Johnny and Voice of the Blessed are just going to go off for me. And I wasn't wrong. So, of course, 3-3, Voice of the Blessed, you know, against a couple of cats. I'm like, I'm good. Then my opponent, yeah, does something that I wasn't even thinking about. And I was like, yes, yes. I was like, oh, I really thought it killed it. I was like, oh no, he just killed my creature, but Soul Sister saving the day for me. That was, and I probably would have conceded too. I was like, oh no. This was a great hand. Let me know in the comments below. Would you Soul Sister? Would you Guide of Souls first? I chose Guide of Souls specifically for the counters, the energy counters. And as soon as I saw Ruin Crab, I was like, okay, this is a race. I need to go fast. And I'm glad I put Guide of Souls first. And then I put Voice of the Blessed. Obviously, they're going to go off. And yeah, so let me know. Because, again, I will always go Guide of Souls first over Soul Warden. Just because of the counters. That's it. It's really that. You know, because yeah, Voice of the Blessed, obviously gets 1/1 counters because of the, you know, just life gain. But I was like, but what if it's not Voice of the Blessed? I'd rather not just rely everything on Voice of the Blessed, because Guide itself can get what do you call it? Get the +1/+1 counters in the flying. So I was like, all right. And I knew immediately, I was like, okay, this is a race against Mill. So I need to just play just as aggressive as possible. And I knew, okay, here we go. Here's another 3 energy counters. Oh my god, it's still so good. And I knew immediately, I'm like, okay, this is going to be a race. I need to get flying over the air, over the crab. Yeah, it's just, yeah, and obviously I'm sure veteran players, you're going to know this, but like, this is going to people who don't know the deck specifically, or, you know, have trouble trying to close out games in Magic, or hesitate towards attacking. Like, you know, mill is an aggressive deck, not by attacking, but just making you mill so many cards. Especially when a Ruin Crab's on the field, every land is 3 cards. Fetch land, it's 6 cards a turn. You're drawing cards, right? So you draw a card, that's 1 less card in your hand or in your deck, right? You need to be as aggressive as possible. Like, I knew at this point, like, I win. There's no way you can stop me. I have lethal on board. And that's just kind of how it turned out. Like, I was like, okay, there we go. Fantastic. Yeah, it was good. It was a lot of fun. And this last match, I was actually going to be done, but then I was like, you know what? Let me throw one more match in here. Why not? Just because I kind of met my requirements or whatever for my daily grinding, and I was like, kind of end, but I was like, nah, I'm enjoying the deck, so let me just play one more. This Thoughtseize, yeah, I didn't realize that I had priority because Solitude. I was like, oops, sorry. I kept this hand because, I mean, Solitude is an answer to things. Obviously, double Esper Sentinel's really nice if, you know, one dies, and then a Johnny's a Johnny. You know, I thought it was a good opening hand, and it's basically it for what's happening right now. I should be cutting all this, but I'm lazy. I'm lazy when it comes to cutting dead time in a game. Probably should more often. Maybe, you know, if this was my full-time job, maybe I would. Maybe I would. It's just obviously, you know, I'm busy. It's Saturday, 6 in the evening. You know, might eat some food soon. Anyways, yeah. So I keep forgetting Solitude gives me priority. Again, I was like, Guide of Souls, like I got it right. I probably shouldn't have probably should have went with Esper Sentinel to force my opponent to, forcing me to draw cards. But it's again, Guide of Souls is just really good, and if Guide of Souls survives, I can double Esper Sentinel. Turn 2, get 2 counters or 2 energy counters. Like I kind of was getting greedy. Again, I don't remember what happens because I recorded this a while ago, or earlier today. I said a while ago. I'm sorry, apologies. I recorded this earlier today, so I don't know the details or remember the details all too much. This to me, Demonic Tutor. Man, that is crazy. How Demonic Tutor is in Arena, but like, there's so many other cards that aren't. Like I guess interactions and everything, but there's some cards I'm like, why isn't it? Why isn't? Oh yeah, I remember that. Second Guide of Souls, yeah. I was like, you know what? Here's a second Guide of Souls, and then here's an Esper Sentinel, and here's 2 more energy counters. Go to combat, triggers, take action. Put 2 more counters on that, flying, and swing for 3. Dude, Guide of Souls is just so good. It is crazy how good this card can be. But yeah, no. This should be the final match. But for sure, it's a lot of fun. I've always liked Soul Sisters. And yes, this is show and tell. I forget. I draw a card. I was like, okay, cool. This was a hilarious interaction because I was like, oh, Omniscience for sure. I guess I'll just throw Solitude. Oh, it's an Atraxa. Okay. I was like, did not expect that. I seriously was under the impression that my opponent was gonna throw down Omniscience, and I was just like, well, I think I lost. But that Atraxa and Solitude interaction was great. I was laughing pretty hard, pretty hard. And you see me clicking away. It's like, all right, opponent. I'm sure they're like, oh no, what do I do now? There you go. See, you have a Omniscience in hand now. Perfect, fantastic. And then I keep forgetting that I have priority because Solitude. And this is when I really knew, like, okay, it's kind of game over. Like, I don't see, like, the only way my opponent's gonna win is if they have another show and tell in hand. And I was like, I'm ready for it. I have another Solitude. Bring her another tracks. But yeah, no, this is kind of do or die for me. So if they have another Omniscience, I'm kind of dead. I kind of knew that. Oh yeah, there's double triggers of the counters because I have so many. Yeah, I kind of spread it around because like, well, let me just spread it around just so. Yeah, Ocelot Pride, like, as much as it steamrolls, like, this is just kind of like overkill. Just playing Ocelot Pride at the end. But I already had like my opponent dead on board for sure. The Brainstorm was kind of like, uh-oh. They had to have forced me to draw because they wouldn't have enough mana to show and tell next turn, or in the same turn if they didn't. Yeah, nothing really great. They know I have a Solitude in hand, which would be my best card to play. Well, no, yeah, that would be it. Because I was thinking maybe Sorin would have been devastating for them, but I don't think so. And yeah, they concede, and that's it. And outro time. Yeah, no, this deck feels solid. The Esper Sentinels are pretty. I knew they were going to be good, but man, they were good. The one thing that definitely I didn't really run into were the helping hands, but yeah, when they turned one Thoughtseize and they see Helping Hand and anything else on the in their in my hand, like in a Johnny or a Voice of the Soul or whatever, they tend to go after Helping Hand because it's just like, okay, if I make him get rid of a Johnny turn one, there's just gonna a Johnny turn one. So Helping Hand is pretty good because yeah, if they decide for some reason to discard your Johnny on their turn one, you draw into Helping Hand, you're just like, okay, cool, I'll just bring a Johnny back from the graveyard and have a turn one a Johnny. Fantastic. So I didn't even think about that interaction, but yes, that was pretty solid. The One Ring didn't really come into play too much. Solitude is amazing. That last match, oh dude, that Atraxa Solitude. I know I didn't record myself vocally, but man, I was laughing really hard because I thought, oh, they're gonna play Omniscience and I'm just gonna throw Solitude, it's fine. They threw in Atraxa. I was like, oh, this is great, this is fantastic, I love it. Sorin did play some parts. I will say I had a lot of misplays. I'm sure you're gonna let me know in the comments below which misplay annoyed you the most. But definitely had some misplays. But Sorin is really good. Sorin is good. Just being able to lifelink and extort the -1's fantastic. Again, I created some foods here and there when I didn't have a lot of things to, minus or whatever. Voice of the Blessed is just really good overall. Again, Ocelot Pride is the one card that just steamrolls. Like, out of this entire deck, I feel like Ocelot, I don't know, one of those. Ocelot Pride is by far like the best card in this entire deck. It's so good. Like, when they spoiled this, I thought it was like, oh man, this is a really good card. But it's better than really good. It's I wouldn't say broken, but it's very, very, very powerful. And Guide of Souls, having two of them, the spending energy and giving +2/+1/+1 counters and flying, it's definitely your opponent just like, oh, I didn't take account for that kind of thing. You can kind of go off with them, especially with again, Ocelot Pride, just making a bunch of tokens, getting a bunch of energy. The life gain is kind of just a secondary thing. Like, don't get me wrong, it matters for Voice of the Blessed, and Ocelot Pride, obviously, right, for gaining life and end step kind of thing. But man, it just the counters is just really good. So yeah, I had a great time. I had good matchups. Highly recommended. It is a lot of rares and mythics. So if we separate it, we got, oh, that's a mythic, that's a mythic, that's a rare, that's a mythic, that's an uncommon, this is a common, this is a mythic, it's a common, it's a rare, that's a rare. Let's go, let's keep going, let's go lands. All right, cool. There's that, there's that, there's that. Look at all of the rares. So a lot of rares, a lot of mythics, not many commons and uncommons. But again, I guess this is cool because it's an uncommon, not a big deal. The new card that I was recommending, again, it'll be on the screen right now. I forgot the name of it. I think it's like something Chancellor or Channeler or something like that. I most likely will probably, I don't know. It's tough because like Esper Sentinel was really good in these matchups, and Timeless, I don't know if I want to get rid of them. I was thinking about getting rid of two of these, maybe one Sorin, one a Johnny for the Channeler, but I might not. I think it all depends. I might take out Voice of the Blessed, a couple of those for the Channeler, but I'm kind of very hesitant now with it. I'm gonna have to, trial and error kind of thing with it. But for now, the Esper Sentinels they played a huge part, whether it's forcing my opponent to pay the extra one to make sure I don't draw cards, or being able to draw cards and getting answers and kind of stuff, So again, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. If you enjoy my content overall, please subscribe. Again, leave me some comments in the comment section below. Just if you play this match, you play this deck. Did you play the Saffron Olive version? Did you add cards to your own version? Just let me know how it went, and I'll be leaving a link in the description below of a video I made about like my process of grinding on a daily basis on Arena, just to help you guys there. And I'll catch you all next time. Bye bye.